I'm pretty irritated by how much the homesteading movement has been capitalized off of lately. So I'm gonna do a very quick video on de-influencing the whole homesteading thing. First of all, you don't have to quit your job to homestead. You can work from home like I do. I know that's certainly harder to get into. Believe me, I'm being affected by AI as well. It really shouldn't matter that much, but I do see a lot of content that is geared towards like stay-at-home mothers doing a lot of the work, which absolutely nothing wrong with that. Love that. But that's not necessarily me. I am still working from home and I am sacrificing a lot of sleep. I usually work at night after my kids go to bed. So I don't want people to think that you have to like quit your job or completely live off of one income to make this work. You don't. You are sacrificing sleep for sure. It is a lot of work, but it is something that can be done. And it is something I have been doing for the past 5 years. And you know what? I think that a lot of homesteading should be rooted in mutual aid rather than total self-reliance. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all about self-reliance and picking up new skills and learning new things. That's great. That's very important. But community is everything. My office is not even in my office right now. It's kind of in my like workout station out here in the living room because right now we have some friends staying with us because mutual aid is cool and the housing market sucks. I am going to give you some specific examples that may or may not apply to you, but at the root of it, just remember that this was like a pioneering thing. This was people who did without, and if it was expensive to homestead, it wouldn't have worked at all. So try to think like someone, think about Little House on the Prairie and just try to envision yourself in that scenario and do without if you have to, make do without, recycle, whatever. It's supposed to be affordable and it's supposed to make your life much cheaper and easier and better quality. It's not supposed to be that much of a burden, so keep that in the back of your mind. This is Bowser. He's staying with us for a while. He's with the family, but check it out. We've got a very homemade, not professional at all buildings. I built that by myself. I built that by myself. I built that with my husband, and I built that with my husband, but I made a lot of mistakes. So the whole building is a little crooked. I'm gonna walk up here so you can see it. It's leaning forward. I built most of this while he was at work. I don't know if you can tell or not, but the whole building is tilted like this. So when you open that door, it slams forward. So very basic. Lots of mistakes were made, but it keeps our animals warm and dry. I tried to do the best I could to kind of make it aesthetic with the leftover wain from the sawmill. But we really did build these for the price of screws. That's a recycled window. The whole building is so crooked. I just made the window itself crooked. And most of the time people just stop at the window and they don't really take in what's going on with the rest of the building. This is leftover fence. It's recycled. That is literally tree. This whole hutch over here, I made a couple shorts on it actually. It is literally just saplings from our forest that I put together to make a 24 square foot hutch. I turn it off in the winter because there's so much deep snow. You can see that just like would not work. This is all just raw timber and the wire and things, it's probably like $250 I think to put 7 strands of hot 12,000 volt fence up to keep bears out, and it has worked so far. My window is right there, so we've always got access to the animals. We can see them, and if we have to intervene if wildlife gets up here. There's the hutch that my husband built me this summer. I think it's beautiful. It's very functional. We are using chicken wire on it, so it's got like a separate kind of wire down here at the bottom to kind of keep the rabbits a little more secure because again, it is recycled. Not sure how old this pickup is, to be completely honest with you. This is mine. She's my age. She is 28. I bought her in 2013 for $4,600. Don't shoot me. I know that was a good deal. So no payment there, no payment there. My husband does have a 12-year-old Ram that is newer. So we don't have just like 30-year-old trucks only. We do have something a little newer, but nothing new and fancy. You can see I literally still have My cable ties down there at the bottom from where I rigged up our winch that goes on the back of the truck. I did the math on this from all of the repairs I've done on this truck, and in my, I guess, 12 years of owning it, it has cost me right at, I think, $28,000. So I guess it's less than $200 a month to keep this truck and not have payments or anything. So tractors are stupid expensive. I can't even pretend like they're not expensive. But this one is 40 years old, and it's something that we can work on ourselves, thankfully, because my husband knows what he's doing, and I'm very proud of him for that. I don't know what I'm doing with this truck, but I have been learning, and it's old enough that I can learn. It's not something that's super computerized, and it's pretty idiot friendly for someone who wants to get started like me. Yeah, so old truck, old tractor, somewhat old truck that's like 10 or 12 years old. Big wood shed that we built with, that's leftover plywood. I'm sorry, my finger. Leftover plywood, and those are like wall trusses, I think, that were scrap. So we used those big logs, made 2 A's, stacked it up there, threw some leftover tin on there from our whole old house trailer. It works. Our wood stays dry. It's enough to get us through the whole winter and have just a little bit left over. So super cool. Our first 4 years of living here, we did not have a wood splitter at all. We did everything by hand. My husband would use a maul and I would use a sledge and a wedge, and I do about half, he does about half. This year was our very first year with a wood splitter. That's how much we need. And we're gonna have leftover for the winter because we really don't use a lot of wood. We have a good wood stove, thankfully. I don't have an expensive garden, which you can't even see right now. Our log beds are literally just logs stacked on each other, so totally free. Filled that up with some soil that I made myself from the chickens and the rabbits and the goats. So yeah, we're not spending anything there. Very affordable. Use what you have. That should be rule number 1 with your homestead. Like, just find what you can and use it to the very best of your ability. We live very cheaply. It gives me great peace of mind to live this way. My husband was laid off work at the very beginning of November. It is now January. Still has not found work, and we're fine. Our greenhouse, we did not buy panels for it yet. We're gonna wait until he also has a stable job again. As soon as that first paycheck comes in and we feel safe again, we're going to buy our panels and finish that greenhouse. I cannot stress you enough how much prepping should not be for the end of the world. It should be for sickness or injuries or job loss. Things like that are way more prevalent, and that's what you should be planning for. And that's why I'm so grateful we've been living the lifestyle we have, because 2 months of no job for one of us is no big deal. We're totally safe, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Okay, you're probably going to slug me for this. We live very far away from the main road. We don't have a mailbox. We are far away. It's like 8 miles to the post office to go pick up our stuff from the P.O. box. And yet we have electricity because the person who lived here paid to have that run in. Thank you so much. It cost us, do not hit me. It cost us $40 to $50 a month in electricity. It is so unbelievably cheap. So we are not off grid, electric wise. And, yeah, I don't really plan on getting solar panels because we're on the north side of the mountain. The sun is probably right there-ish, which is cloudy as can be, but we just don't get that much sun in the winter. So not really a great option anyway. Our water comes from a spring. We've got multiple springs around the property and a cistern kind of over there. Got a spring here. A spring right there at the bottom of that, actually, and then one right there by my rabbit tractor. And of course there's some on the back of the pond. We just got super lucky with that. I know most people aren't lucky enough to have their own water, let alone artisan springs. We do, so we do use that. Our water is free. So yeah, we've got old stuff. Not everything is aesthetic. I try to make it as pretty as I can. I think making things beautiful when you can is important, but it is not the most important thing. Function over beauty every time. So yeah, just do what you can with what you've got. Don't feel like you're behind. You're not behind. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Things are only going to get better from here. physically and also mentally, because you are learning so much stuff. You're probably not giving yourself credit for how much you are learning. So even if you are planning to move and like technically start over, you are not starting over. You're leveling up, and it's going to get better and better from here on out. You know what? You probably don't need as much land as you think you do. I mean, look at how small that area is that all my animals are in. That totally takes care of our eggs. It could take care of our milk. I am not milking right now. I can do a video on that later. It takes care of, God, our rabbits. I mean, I just butchered 14 and they gave us 56 pounds of meat. I've still got at least 10 to go. So there's probably going to be, probably not 100, but close to 100 pounds of meat just from 2 litters. Like crazy. There's so much food that comes from that tiny little area. It's hard to tell, but this is terraced from here to here. It's a big square. And I've got animal feed that grows there every out that way. You can kind of see them. They look like hills. I guess they're technically mountains. They're like 5,600 or 6,000 square feet. We're at 4,200 square feet. All that back there is 2.2 million acres of Kootenai National Forest. And we do a lot of foraging on there for our family. A lot of our berries and mushrooms came from there. Devin did a bit of hunting on the National Forest this year. So even if you are in an apartment and you're just dreaming of your homestead, take advantage of the public land near you. If you're out west, it's super easy. If you're in the east, you're going to have to do a little bit more work to find that, but you absolutely can. You might be able to strike up a deal with some farmers. That's always an option. And that does a lot to really cut down on your groceries. Like I said, my grocery bill is like $500 a month, and that is because we either raise it or hunt it for a lot of our meat. It does do a lot. Can you tell where my septic tank is? Because it's warm and it's melted the snow off. Yeah, no septic bill unless there's a major problem. So yeah, there's just a lot of things that homesteading does that makes your life much cheaper and easier and high quality. Right here is where we butcher chickens and rabbits. The rabbit heels fit right on these nails. This is my kill cone. I'm going to put back up here before it freezes and disappears under all the snow. I don't have any fancy facilities. I have a tree and I will put a bucket down there, and that's it. That's all I need. You can field dress deer on the ground. Not ideal. If you have the option to hoist them up, that's great. This year we have a tractor we can hoist it up with, which is wonderful. But before that, we just lifted them up into the shed, and that worked fine. We do have 2 refrigerators. They're nothing fancy. Here and here. We have 2 stoves. Don't let this beautiful stainless steel stove fool you. We paid $350 for it off of Marketplace. Really good deal. I think this is like a $3,000 or $4,000 stove. We just happened to get lucky. We're always prowling Marketplace and the pawn shops and the thrift stores. And sometimes you get a really good deal like that. We have another stove over here, which keep in mind there are currently 9 of us living in here right now. So super helpful to have 2 stoves and 2 fridges. There is no dishwasher. I am the dishwasher. I've always hand washed dishes. That's the way it is. Maybe someday I'll get a dishwasher. I don't care that much. I'm very happy with what I have. I'm happy to wash my dishes. Half the time, you can see I've got these flower pots pushed back a little bit. I will just set my phone there and I will watch a movie. Right now, it is Little House on the Prairie. Sometimes I will watch like Jane the Virgin or Outlander. And I just watch my movies while I do my dishes. No big deal. I know most of you have seen my pretty cabinets. I am kind of proud of these. A lot of these jars are used or recycled. If you see any that say Rhodey near the bottom of them, they came from my great-grandparents' house in Indiana. So, you know, there's that. These labels they kind of make everything look cohesive and pretty. So I can have the crazy mismatched jars and it kind of works. Like I've got more, you know, it's just all labeled. So that way other people can still use what's in here and know what's going on. Let's see. You know what? I'll just show you my junk drawer because we need some realness. I think I paid $13 for this in 2018 and it labels all of my jars. It's super cheap. I did not buy any more of this ribbon that goes in it. It just lasts forever. Once you buy this, you've got it for life. We buy the cheap laundry detergent. I made my own for a long time. It just was not cutting the grease. It wasn't working like I wanted it to. So back to the store brand we go. It's fine. This is vinegar. I'm kind of crazy about this. Every year I go through and I make different vinegars for different seasons. In the fall, I make apple cider vinegar. In the winter, I make cherry vinegar. Really easy to do, and it's just fun to have. I gotta say, it's not good for your washer and dryer. It does eat your seals, but I like it. It's worth it to me to replace those seals. Haven't had to do it yet in 5 years, but I know that it is a possibility. So I have what I call my grubby girl hobbies. Right now I've got 14 rabbit pelts in this bucket that are sitting in the pickle so that way I can brain tan them. Right here I have a buckskin that is sitting in a bucking solution, so more of that hair will come off and I can make my own leather gloves with rabbit hair insides. After a lot of deliberation and going back and forth on it, we did decide to homeschool. Haven't worked out all the kinks in that yet, but I'm really happy with our process and our schedules. We don't have a designated space for it. So we've got a basket right here that just sits on the kitchen table all the time, and we can just get it out and use it as we need. And then that keeps the kids really close to me while I am in here cooking or cleaning. I do spend a lot of time in the kitchen, especially in the winter, so that gives kids time to, do their schoolwork, and I'm right by, so if they have questions, I can help them. When I get done with my eggshells, they go up here. When I have a bunch of them like this is what I should be doing today. I throw it in the food processor, I blend it up, and I put it in a container under here, either to go in the garden or I feed it back to my chickens. In the summertime, they get a lot of calcium from outside that they're foraging. In the winter, not so much, so they get a lot of eggshells in the wintertime. Same thing over here with my coffee grounds. I throw that in the garden, in the compost, sometimes in the chicken coop just to kind of freshen it up. You're not really supposed to give coffee grounds to your chickens, so that could be dangerous. I haven't had an issue with it, but worth mentioning. Got random Kootenai special cherry seeds started right here on my microwave. Just use the space you have. It's fine. I've got a ton of wine up there that I've been learning how to make. Super fun. Really enjoy that. I don't really care for alcohol, but homemade wine is different somehow. I like it. Started painting my kitchen. Ran out of paint. Still need to come through with a second and third coat. Whatever. We'll get to it when we get to it. No big deal. There are 5 kids in this house right now. My bookshelves are kind of messy. That's fine. I don't really buy new books. I usually just buy them at the thrift store, used obviously, or I'll go to thriftbooks.com. Highly recommend that. And I collect books like some people collect wine. I don't care. Now most of this shelf and this shelf, actually all of this shelf, maybe half of this one I have read. But I just buy books with the purpose of reading them when it's the right time. You don't buy books to read right away. You just read them when you get to it. Kind of like a fine wine. It's just for a special occasion whenever that happens to be. Got a bunch over here too. Yeah, shelves are messy. That's totally fine. That's part of it. Whatever. I'm dreaming of getting back into horses. So I've got some tack here. That flat spot right here, it's kind of a square, is where the barn is going to go eventually. Haven't built it yet, but I'm a dreamer, so I've got tack saved for it when it finally happens. Nothing too fancy with the coffees. There's my kettle. I get my water hot. I grind my beans right there in that. And then when it's done, it goes into my French press. That's pretty cheap and affordable, and I get to feel like I have nice luxury coffee even at home. I will say, though, that these plates and cups are absolutely a flex. They come from Casey at Earthstones, Montana, here in Trigo, Montana. She is so freaking talented. I've had this mug for 2 years now. It's starting to get a little crack. So I panicked and just bought 4 more just like it, the other one I'm using right now. Aren't they beautiful? If you're ever in Trigo, Montana, buy some. They're beautiful. My spice cabinet. Some of these are store-bought, obviously. I've got homemade stuff, too. A few of these are bulk. I think the onion has some bulk in it. See how some of it's like really big pieces and some of it's really small pieces? That is a mix of homemade and bulk. You can, I mentioned this in a short, you can take, like I had someone stay with a coffee creamer. You can use that lid on these pasta jars and you've got easy serving there. Parmesan cheese lids also fit on here pretty good. So you've got 2 2 ways to do that. This is not Parmesan cheese. Some people thought that. This is onion powder. And this is one of my great-grandparents' jars, so that's why it says Rhodey on there. I cannot stress you enough how much of this stuff I found at a thrift store. This is thrift. This is thrift. This is thrift. A lot of these were gifts. A lot of this was gifts. This is incredible. My neighbor was one of the best cooks I've ever met in my life, and she has a ton of her recipes in this little thing. Oh my Lord. Doris, I love you. But yeah, like, I know a lot of people see things and they, oh wow, that's dirty. See things and they assume new. It is not new, okay? Thrifted or gifted. I have amazing people in my life who know me, and I really appreciate them. 12-year-old toaster that absolutely refuses to die. I buy a few supplements, not many. Like if I have anything herbal I want, ouch, stub my toe. I make it myself. That's what most of this is up here. We've got pumpkin seed. I've got, my goodness, the amount of mushrooms that I found this year, crazy. I think I ended up with 60 pounds before I dehydrated them. Obviously not that many after. Yeah, we've got stinging nettle. We've got our boletes. We've got dehydrated berries and peonies and rose hips and rose petals and lavender and yarrow. I don't know. I've got a ton of stuff in here. There's honey, our castor oil, things like that. A lot of this, like even my greens powder I made. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff you can make yourself, save some money. It's a lot of fun to do. Really fun if you have little kids like I do. It's a ton of fun to get them involved, and I appreciate that. I got kind of overwhelmed at the end of summer, so instead of taking all of my radishes and seeding them out, I just grabbed the whole bundle, tied it up, and left it in my kitchen. Sometime this winter, when I have the time and energy, I can come through and I can shell all the seeds out for us to use next year. Kind of a similar story with our corn. We had some of it do well this year, so I've saved it, and we're gonna try again next year. $100 for the weights, $100 for the treadmill. These little weights came for free with the treadmill. And I get to keep my sanity over the winter. It's wonderful. We've got a little sledding hill down here for the kids. They, I don't know if you can see it. There is a jump right there. They haul ass over that thing and they have a wonderful time. So that's kind of our way of exercising and just enjoying our family, enjoying our homestead. I don't know. I like it. That big monstera started out as a teeny tiny little thing and has grown that big over the last 8 years or so. My husband makes a little bit of side hustle income from flipping fun things like bikes. So right now I've got 2 bikes in my house. I've also got a very dirty freezer here. But our freezer is full of things that we hunted or grew ourselves. I currently have 14 rabbits either in here or in the other 2 freezers. We've got probably 200 pounds of deer meat. We've got fish in here. This is for the dog. He's got, these are Kukanoosa salmon. They're just ground up whole and put in here. When I make extra of anything like pancakes, I will freeze it. I had some leftover mushroom soup, so froze that. That's my way of having easy convenience food. I got stuff like bone broth and fried rice, which is probably a little freezer burn. I should use that soon. We've got spaghetti in here. Lentil soup, which is so good. Oh my gosh, the Mexican lentil soup is delicious. We've probably got 3 grouse in here, maybe a duck. I don't know. There's a chicken in here too, for sure. Maybe a mean old rooster. But it doesn't have to be expensive food. It is totally fine to not buy a whole hog or half of a cow or anything. You can hunt it. You can raise small animals. You can do that to take care of yourself. I was used to paying $2.03 a pound for my beef from our farm, which was my grandparents' cattle. And out here I've seen it as high as $16 a pound. So yeah, super high. We're not going to talk about how dirty my freezer is. I know I need to clean this thing out. Really the only meat we buy anymore is pork. I really like Jimmy Dean. I don't know. I would like to get pigs soon. We haven't done it yet, but that's our next project, is raising pigs, so we don't have to buy that anymore. My fridge is an absolute train wreck. That's fine. I did not clean anything up for you. Here it is in its full glory, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't have to be super aesthetic. Whatever works, works. This is my fridge. It's not very aesthetic. It's certainly not very clean. I guess I will have a project to do on that today. But yeah, we are not buying the organic stuff for the most part. The organic stuff is what we raise, and other than that, whatever we buy is pretty cheap. Our grocery bill is $500 a month, sometimes less than that, because we are supplying all of our meat and a lot of our vegetables and all the mushrooms, all the berries, either hunted or foraged or raised here. Okay, we do have a few like processed things. I've got saltwater taffy and ramen because, oh my gosh, I love ramen. We've got our little Debbie snacks, but a lot of the stuff we eat is homemade, made from scratch. Certainly much easier if one of you is a stay-at-home parent, stay-at-home, work from home, whatever. It is much easier. I will not deny that. Absolutely much easier if you can do that if one of you is at home. But doing that has saved us a ton of money. It is more old-fashioned. I think it is healthier, and it certainly brings me joy to have something that is made from scratch, and I know it's good for my family. I am not crazy about organic. Like, I think it's good for you, obviously, but I don't worry myself about buying organic. I just do the best I can with what I have. I would prefer cook from scratch with non-organic things than to buy something pre-made that is organic, if that makes sense. It is a bit of a process learning to do all those things, but it's once you have those skills, you've got them for life, and then you can keep building off of it. So don't feel like you have to do everything all at once. You absolutely do not. Just do what you can, learn it, and keep moving on. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just use what you have, do your best. You're gonna pick up amazing skills. You're gonna find what you do and don't like, and you're gonna do amazing. I don't really buy fresh flowers. I pick peonies from around the place. I've got guinea and turkey feathers in here, some other little wildflowers from around here, and I put bouquets like this around my house. They're dried. This one's probably 3 years old now, and it's still great. If you get really close to it, it still smells like a wonderful peony. So yeah, do things for yourself. Pick your own flowers, preserve them, and love them for years to come. Next time you go thrifting, look for homestead books. You are free to do what you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you do not need a $1,000 course from Joel Salatin to tell you what to do. A lot of these older books, let's see if I've got this one. Yes, I do. Especially this one has a ton of stuff in it that is really helpful, and it is not $1,000. It is like $4 at your local thrift store. Now, if you can get this exact book, great, but there's a lot of them just like this that you can find, and they're full of just amazing information. I don't know, I'm really frustrated that a lot of the things that our grandparents and neighbors and just kind people in general shared with us are now being monetized and resold, and I don't like that. I want us to, you can check that out. There's so many good things in this book. I can't recommend it enough. But there's just so many things that we should just be sharing this with each other instead of selling it. I do have like a cookbook that I advertise to people, but anytime I talk about it, I share the whole recipe either in the comments or in an accompanying video or as a screenshot. I just think this stuff should be free. Like, if you want the book itself, yeah, pay $10 for it. But if you just see the recipe, I've got the recipe right there. It's all free. I try to make everything as free and accessible as I can because, I don't know, I want to be ethical. I don't have a freeze dryer. I never plan on having one. I've got a little dehydrator here. I just got within the last year. Thank you so much, Grandma and Grandpa. And before that, I was just stringing up the stuff I wanted to dry right up here or right here and letting it air dry, and it worked that way too. My daughter made me this beautiful clay pot out of mud in the yard, and she picked all those flowers herself. Yeah, like, let your kids be kids. Let them do what you did when you were little. Make mud pies, make pots, and treasure that stuff. I think I will be 70 years old and I will still love this pot more than anything else I own. Being frugal has always made me feel safer. It's kind of been my special interest, I guess you could say. And it has really tied nicely in with the whole homesteading thing. And it's really pushed me to learn new things, and I appreciate that. And I don't know, all the new hobbies that I have and the little bitty small skills that you pick up along the way have really served us well. They've served my family well. We've learned a lot along the way, saved quite a bit of money along the way, and I think we've had higher quality things because of this interest. So I'm just hoping to share a little bit of that with you, and of course I would love to learn from you as well. Seriously, when in doubt, think about how things would have been done in the past traditionally, because I almost guarantee that it's going to be a lot cheaper and more accessible for you to do. For example, just to use my rabbits as an example, we grow pretty much all of their feed here on our property. I forage and grow it for them, super cheap. Really don't need to buy much hay for them in the winter. I can get us through part of the winter just through the hay I make myself. And then when it comes time to tanning the pelts, you can either buy an $80 bottle of tanner, which will do just a few pelts, or you can do it the old-fashioned way with their brains, and it's optional. You don't have to do this, but you can also use salt and common alum to tan it, and it's less than $1 a pelt to have it tanned and have something beautiful and workable that you can use for yourself on the homestead, or you can sell it to somebody else and make a little bit of an income. You can make your own lye from your wood stove ash, or you can buy a $10 bottle off Amazon, which is what I do because I don't have hardwood. And that $10 bottle will literally make me like a decade's worth of soap. I have tallow here that I made from our deer, and our own lavender that was free. Yeah, it's just free. I have seen these going, in my area at least, for like $20 or $30 a bottle this size. So yeah, do it yourself when you can. Learn the skills and love it. These are the soaps I made. This is from peony. This is from lavender. This is spearmint, which I have growing in my window right now. I gave a lot away. This is more of a deer fat scent with a little bit of pine in it. It's a cover scent for hunting. When we go out to town, we buy a little bit of brown rice at a time, a little bit of beans, just things you can stock up. I always keep at least 50 pounds of flour and 50 pounds of sugar on me. Stockpiling does not have to be expensive stuff. It can literally be just grabbing something else that is shelf stable on your next trip to the store. And rice and beans and flour and sugar are not expensive things. It is a little bit easier to get started on those. This is the aluminum sulfate that I buy. This is my very ugly shelf up here, whatever. This is $10 or $12. It will do a lot of pelts. It's not necessary, but I do like the way it finishes with that, so there's that. I just started taking protein powder because I am lifting weights and running. And I've been lifting weights and running for 4 years now. Actually, I was running long before that. But anyway, lifting weights. And I have not been taking any protein powder because I've just been eating a lot of rabbit. That's high in protein, so, you know. Speaking of rabbit, this is rabbit jerky here. It looks and tastes like bacon. And I've got deer jerky here. Yeah, so make your own. That is just like a free byproduct of harvesting your own meat, or, you know, hunting or harvesting, whatever you want to call it. It's a really good source of protein. It's an easy snack, and it's helpful to have. I swear I have some of the most helpful and resourceful watchers, viewers on the planet. So I know you guys have some really good tips for de-influencing homesteading, doing things more affordably and I guess more traditional, not necessarily like in the traditional sense, but just doing things kind of the old-fashioned way that just works. It's proven to work. It's affordable. It's community-oriented. That's what I'm all about. I'm sure a lot of the viewers watching this right now are about that. So if you have advice, please share it in the comments. I'm sure I will learn something from you in the comments. I almost always do in every video. So I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next Monday.